Welcome to today's technical analysis video. This is Eric Lewis. This is our daily stock series. And today we're looking at Nike Inc. It's November 25th, 2019. And I think you'd have to live under a rock and have been there for the last, 30 years to not recognize that logo with the swoosh. So here, on the other hand, is a look at their price history for the last year. So we see a bit of channeling. Well, first we start with an uptrend in the first couple of months of couple months of 2019. We have more of a sideways pattern going on from the beginning of March, we'll call it, through early September and really into mid-September. And then in late September we had I believe that would have been an earnings update shown by the little E down here. And for those of you who've seen me use these charts week in and week out, that E stands for earnings, that D stands for dividend. So we have a earnings update, and that popped the stock on up, and then we've pulled back a little bit since then, but we're a little bit higher from there. Let's take a look at the moving averages. So the 10-day moving averages, moving average is at least higher. But right now the 50-day is actually higher than the 20, and so this is more of a consolidated moving average pattern, not a clear signal up or down. Let's look at the 5-year, and that'll give us a little bit more information to go by. So here we see that our current price level is still amongst the highest that we've seen in the last 5 years. So that recent high that we saw last month was actually the all-time high in the stock, and right now we've pulled back off of that about $3.10 roughly. So looking at the moving averages here, and of course these are weekly bars instead of daily, so the 10-week is higher than the 20-week, which is higher than the 50, which as we know, with all three of these in line, that means that the moving averages are showing, at least on the 5-year chart, that the expectation is that higher prices will continue. And I would normally move on to the Fibonacci retracement at this point, but here's the all-time look of this stock, and each pullback has been replaced or has been followed by a higher high. So in this scenario, a Fibonacci analysis really would not truly be very relevant. So I just like to look at this. This is yet another stock, another Dow stock that is trading at all-time highs. So it's been a strong market. This shouldn't surprise any of you. Let's move on to the MACD. Now here's a MACD at the 1 year of the 1 year chart, and what's interesting here is that we actually had a cross in early November, a pullback that sent it below the zero line, and then we had a cross below the zero line, and now both the signal line and the MACD line is pulling higher. So this is actually a sign of bullish momentum. So now we see both bullish momentum in the 5-year moving average and in the 1 year MACD. And I'll be explaining the MACD and some of these other moving averages and how they're comprised here shortly. But for now, let's take a look at a little bit of support and resistance. So the good thing about channeling markets, especially the way these did it, is it actually shows you that there were 3 different tests of something that was clearly resistance, and that's around $89 per share. There was some solid visual resistance in the market. Then we had that strong earnings report in late September, and when the market pulled off and it reached an all-time high in October, and look where it pulled right back to. It pulled right back to that previous resistance level, but now that resistance level becomes support. We've seen that if you've watched any of these other videos, you'll see situations where resistance becomes support, or support can become resistance if prices go the other way. So we did several testing of that support and then bounced straight on up off of it, and are trading up higher above it right now. So overall, this is yet another Dow stock currently trading at or near all-time highs. The moving average for the 1 year chart, of course, is inconclusive, but the 5-year shows that it's in line for higher prices. Fibonacci retracement isn't very relevant when there hasn't been a retracement that yielded less than 100% retracement. So when you make all-time or make new highs off of every pullback, there's no retracement to discuss other than 100%. So the Fibonacci is less relevant. The 1-year MACD, of course, is showing some bullish price momentum, and this stock has recently bounced off of support near $89 per share. So I'm expecting Nike to push higher and probably retest that recent high of $96.71 per share. I think it also helps that we are entering the holiday season here in the U.S. and expect, people, many a child will be looking for some new Jordans or workout gear underneath the Christmas tree, and that oftentimes will have Nike on it. So that's it for this stock. It's hard for me to say anything that is bearish on this stock, especially since they've had decent earnings. And this is a dividend-paying stock. So if I were to take a bearish outlook, once again, I would do so in the options, and I would do so with a limited exposure scenario, meaning I'm not just going to buy puts. In fact, I'd be more likely to sell puts, which would allow me to buy stock, reestablish a long position at a lower price, and get paid for it if it doesn't happen. If I were to buy anything to benefit from lower prices, it would be put spreads, with the understanding that I might actually lose that money. So that makes me a long-term bull on many of these stocks, even when they pull back, even if we go through a period of recession. I like dividend-paying stock that has years and years of strong price history. So that's it for this stock, for Nike. Thank you guys for listening. Please share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And once again, happy trading.